Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to try to explain, gravity a bit more and how the universe works. So, this is continuing from my previous episode. And my previous episode, I talked about, the energy. I alluded to the fact that we might be inside a bigger universe in my previous episode, right? Well, let's look at, the sun, right, and gravity. Just like, have you seen a whirlpool of water? You know, think of the sun as a massive whirlpool of water, right? The center of the sun is the center of the whirlpool. And if you notice, this, just like a whirlpool, swirls water into it, right? If you flush something down the toilet, or if you flush something down, water. If you flush your toilet, right, you find it forms like some sort of vortex. It forms a vortex as it flows down, right? Isn't that what planets are doing? Planets are forming a vortex around the sun as they flow into it. Energy goes from, a place of high concentration to low concentration. The sun, the center of the sun is a massive, within the center of the sun is a massive vortex. There's a massive hole at the very center of the sun. And that hole is massless energy. Massless energy exists at the very center of the sun. That's what light is. Light contains no mass whatsoever. Light is pure energy. It has no mass in any shape or form. It is just pure energy. At the center of the sun is filled with that massless energy. So what do you think will happen? When there's a vacuum where there's no mass, in a space filled with mass, what do you think will happen? All that mass will try to what? Fall into that vacuum, that hole. Just like when you flush a toilet and the hole opens up, below it, all that water falls into that hole. And it swirls into it. Just like all the planets swirl into the sun. We're slowly swirling into the sun. And all the planets in our galaxies are all slowly swirling what? Into a black hole. Don't you find it weird that, the same effect that happens when energy moves from high concentration to low concentration is the same effect that gravity has? Gravity isn't a real force. It's just energy moving from high concentration places to low concentration places. All the mass around the sun is falling into the sun because the sun has no mass. The center of the sun has no mass. So there's a hole at the center of the sun, a massless hole. So everything around the sun is falling into it. All the mass in space, space is not empty. Space is filled with energy. The space around you and the space, outside of the earth, it's all filled with energy. It's all filled with mass. And all that mass is slowly swirling into the center of the sun. The center of the sun where there's no mass. Because energy moves from places of high concentration to low concentration. So as energy moves to the center of the sun, it is converted, all that pressure is converted to what? More massless energy. It's like an endless chemical reaction. Because the center of the sun contains no mass, more mass gravitates towards it. Because more mass gravitates towards it, all that pressure builds up and creates another chemical reaction that turns all all those objects with mass into what? Massless energy. And after it converts it into massless energy, all that massless energy wants to do what? Escape. They can't stay, it's too concentrated at the center of the sun. The center of the sun is too concentrated. It's filled with massless energy. So the reverse occurs. All that massless energy escapes and flies out of the sun. That's why the sun radiates heat. It converts mass into massless energy. And the massless energy radiates out of goes towards, the space that's filled with mass. Space is filled with mass and doesn't have that much massless energy. The center of the sun is filled with massless energy. It doesn't have that much mass. So both reactions occur at the same time. Gravity pulls objects towards the sun, or let's just say the whirlpool at the very center of the sun pulls all mass towards it while pushing out massless energy out of it. The massless energy escapes the sun as sunlight, while mass gravitates towards the sun. So the same thing that's happening to us is the same thing that's happening to light. Light is being yanked out from the center of the sun because the center of the sun is too concentrated. It's too concentrated with massless energy. It's too concentrated with light. It's too concentrated with heat. And all that heat has to go somewhere, right? It has to go where there's less heat. It has to go to the vast recesses of space, far away from the sun. So two equal and opposite reactions are occurring at the same time. One pulls mass towards it, just like a whirlpool pulls water towards it, right? And then another whirlpool that has equal and opposite effect pushes energy out of the sun. It pushes light out of the sun. As the sun absorbs mass, it releases light. That's what happens in the black hole as well. All the energy within, all energy, all matter is being sucked in to the center of the black hole. Because at the center of the black hole is probably the highest concentration of dark matter. It's a place where there's no matter whatsoever. Because there's no matter, there's no energy. All the energy in our universe slowly falls into that circle, in that vortex. There's a vortex at the center of a black hole. And that vortex, within that very vortex, is no energy whatsoever. Because there's no energy in there. Everything, all energy surrounding, inside our universe slowly swirls into it, just like a vortex of water. And at the same time, dark matter is created. Just as, our sun converts mass into massless energy, a black hole converts matter and energy into dark matter and dark energy. It converts it into dark energy, which is released to the world, and then slowly turns into matter or dark matter. Just like light is slowly, just like as light is released into the world, right? And slowly forms matter. Dark energy is released into the world and slowly forms dark matter. So a black hole is just like a sun. It functions just like a sun. But the difference between a black hole and a sun is a sun can be measured. We can see the sun. We can measure the sun. Our machines can detect whatever is happening within the sun. But the black hole converts matter, energy, into dark matter. We can't see dark matter. We can't see dark energy. It converts it into dark energy. not dark matter. It converts it into dark energy. I use the terms interchangeably, but when I say dark matter in this context, I mean dark energy. So I apologize, if it gets you confused. I use dark matter and dark energy, interchangeably, even though they're not the same thing. Just like the sun converts mass or matter into massless or matterless energy, right? A black hole converts energy and mass into dark energy and then releases it. But because we can't measure dark energy, we just see it as a black hole. We just see a black hole. We just see energy entering it, but we don't see energy leaving it. We don't see energy leaving it because it's dark energy that leaves it, and we can't measure dark energy. Because all that energy has to go somewhere. It's a fact. The energy within a black hole has to go somewhere. It has to be released. The law of duality states that when something, you know, if you see a trait, right, the equal and opposite trait must also exist simultaneously. Meaning, for gravity to be pulling something, gravity must also be pulling something away. For something to be going towards something, something must be pushed away from it. For example, the more space, the more, if you take a bottle, right? The more water you add to that bottle, the more air is removed. You understand? Think of a dark hole just like that. The more mass is added, the more something has to be removed. Just like the sun. The more mass enters the sun, the more energy is released. The more water enters a bottle, the more air, escapes. A bottle is usually filled with air. As you add water into a bottle, air escapes from it. The more water you add, the more air escapes. That means the same thing is happening within a black hole as well. And since we can't see what's coming out of the black hole, it probably means there's dark energy coming out of the black hole. Something has to be coming out of that black hole. Because for the black hole to be absorbing some, energy and matter, it must also be releasing energy and matter as well. It must also be releasing a different form of energy and matter as well. And there's a almost 100% chance that within the center of a black hole is some sort of nuclear conversion that converts matter into dark matter, that converts energy into dark energy, and then radiates that dark energy into the universe around us. We don't feel that radiation because we can't sense dark energy. We can't see dark energy. That's why a black hole is always dark. We can't see the center of it. We can't see a black hole. Just like we can't see dark matter. What does that tell you? It tells you there's a high likelihood at the very center of a black hole is a high concentration of dark matter. Just like at the very center of the sun, there's a high concentration of what? Energy. There's dark energy at the very center of a black hole. But we can't sense dark energy, so we can't see anything there. There's a very high chance at the very center of that black hole is a large amount of dark energy. And that dark energy is being released. So now that I've, explained dark energy to the best of my knowledge, I'm going to talk about the universe. In the previous episode, I talked about how we're likely inside another universe. Our universe expands while dark matter contracts. The center of our universe pushes out dark matter. The center of our universe pushes out energy, right? Since our universe is expanding, the equal and opposite must also happen. For example, like I stated before, for For the air to escape from inside the bottle of water, something must push it out, right? It's basic logic. This is basic facts. For water, for the air inside a bottle to escape from that bottle, something must push it out. So the fact that our universe is expanding tells you what? Tells you that dark matter is contracting within our universe. The center of our universe is likely a massive dark hole, a massive black hole that's sucking in all the dark energy. Dark energy is being pulled into the center of our universe, forcing our universe to expand. Or let's think of it as the opposite. As our universe expands towards the outside world, right? Towards outside our universe, dark matter, it pushes the dark matter outside of our universe towards the center of our universe. Because for something to expand, something must also contract. For air to escape a bottle of water, something must be added to that bottle of water. The fact that our universe is expanding tells you that something is entering our universe. And scientists have shown that the dark matter within our universe is increasing. The dark matter within our universe, the amount of dark energy within our universe is increasing. As our universe expands, the amount of dark energy increases. That tells you what? It tells you that the center of our universe is pulling in dark energy while releasing energy. It releases energy and pulls in dark energy. That's how this works. It means we're likely inside a larger universe. Because when all that energy, all that dark energy within that within the center of the universe gets to a large amount, a high enough amount, a massive nuclear reaction will probably occur that will convert all that dark energy into matter, into energy. And all that energy will expand again, just like our universe expanded. Another big bang will occur where all the dark energy that's being concentrated at the center of the universe gets to a certain point, it will just blow up. A massive nuclear reaction will probably occur, and all that dark energy will transform into energy, just like all the mass that enters the sun transforms into massless energy, into light. Our energy is inside another energy, our universe is inside another universe, which is inside another universe, which is inside another universe. It just goes on infinitely. And within within countless years in the future, after our universe expands to a point where, we can barely see our neighbors, right? Another universe will be born. At the very center of our universe, another universe will be born. And this universe will go through the same process that our universe went through. Another massive expansion. It's just like how, like I stated before, within two, there's one, right? There's infinite numbers inside one. Yet, there are infinite numbers within one. Because between 0 and 1 are infinite numbers. There's infinity between 0 and 1. So infinite numbers make up 1. And 1 plus 1 equals 2. So within 2, there's 1. Within a bigger universe, there's a smaller universe. Within 2, there's 1. Within 3, there's 2 and 1. Within 4, there's 3, 2, and 1. Within 5, there's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Within 6, there's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Do you know what that means? Within a larger universe, universe 5, there's universe 4, universe 3, universe 2, universe 1. We're inside a much larger universe, which is inside a much larger universe. And this is how, How numbers work is how the universe works. If you see how life works, you can notice that one creates many and many creates one. Within one human, there are many atoms. Within one atoms, there are many protons, neutrons, and electrons. Within a proton, there are many subatomic particles. Within the subatomic particles, there are many subatomic particles. Within these subatomic particles, there are smaller particles inside of them. Within these smaller particles, there are even smaller particles. It just goes on infinitely. Likewise, within this universe, there's surrounding this universe should be a larger universe. And surrounding that universe should be a larger universe. And surrounding that universe should be a larger universe. And surrounding that universe should be a larger universe. Just like I showed you within 1 and 2. When you count numbers, the larger numbers have the smaller numbers within them. The larger universes have the smaller universes within them. The larger objects have smaller objects within them. The smaller objects have smaller objects within them. One and many come together as one. Everything exists simultaneously. One and many exist simultaneously as one. One object, right, has many particles within them. One particle has many subparticles within them. One subparticle has many smaller particles within them. It just goes on infinitely. Within one, there's many. Within many, there's one. Within one universe, there should be smaller universes ready to blow up. And just like I stated, in the future, a bigger universe, a smaller universe, will probably expand from the center of our universe. Our universe is still young, so all the dark energy are still accumulating at the center of our universe. At some point in time, all that energy will reach, a point where a massive, nuclear reaction will occur that will transform the dark energy into regular matter. And that regular matter will expand and create a massive universe that will be within our universe. So that's how it works. So how does this play in with God? God is everything. Since God is everything, God is the one that makes the rules. Since God is the one that makes the rules, God can change the rules. One and many exist simultaneously as one. Since the rules appear from our point of view that it can't, like I said in a different podcast, both dualities must exist. Since the rules appear unchanging, it automatically means the rules can be changed. So as gravity pulls things towards it, automatically means gravity must also pull things away. For like the sun, gravity pulls mass towards the sun, but gravity also pulls light away from the sun as well. Both dualities exist simultaneously as one. Light, the fact that light is a particle, automatically means it can be something else. It can be a wave. The fact that light is a wave proves that it can be a particle. The fact that a rock is one, the fact that a human being is one, proves that it can be many. And yes, a human being is many. One human is composed of many cells. One cell is composed of many organs. One organ is composed of many molecules. One molecule is composed of many atoms. One atom is composed of what? Protons, neutrons, and electrons. One electron is composed of many subatomic particles. One subatomic particle is composed of many particles that are smaller than it. The duality of one and many exists simultaneously as one. Just like, light exists as both a particle and a wave at the same time. The fact that the universe appears unchanging proves that it can be changed, because both opposites exist simultaneously as one. It can be changed by us, but it can be changed by the person who created the rules. We live in an intelligent world. That's why the world does, appears unintelligent. The world is intelligent because we can understand the world. If we can't understand the world, it means the world is unintelligent. The fact that we can understand the world proves that the world is intelligent. It just appears unintelligent from our point of view. Just like a light appears to be a particle from one point of view, and from another point of view, it's a wave. A human being appears as one person from one point of view, but from another point of view, a human being is composed of many cells. The earth appears to be unmoving from one point of view, but from a different point of view, from the point of view of the sun, the earth is always moving. Movement and non-movement exist simultaneously as one. Change and no change exist simultaneously as one. The fact that the world appears to be chaotic proves that the world is orderly. The fact that the world is orderly proves that the world is chaotic. Both opposites exist simultaneously as one. The fact that energy cannot be created nor destroyed proves that energy can be created and destroyed. It just can't be created or destroyed by us. We can't create or destroy energy, but something can, and that something is God. Both properties, both opposite properties must exist. For existence to exist, non-existence must also exist. For the rules to be unchangeable, the rules must be changeable. For energy to not be created, for energy to be incapable of being created or destroyed, means energy must be capable of being created and destroyed. God created the rules, so only God can change the rules. We can't change the rules because we are the rules. We exist because the rules exist. When the rules change, we will not know that the rules have changed because we are the rules. When your body gets older, you will never notice that your body gets older. That's exactly how this works. Your body is always moving. Your cells are always moving. The atoms within your body are always moving. They're always changing. Blood is always flowing through your body. Do you notice those things? Do you notice yourself getting older? No. From your point of view, you're always static. You never change. But the fact that you appear to be unchanging proves that you always change. Why? For the concept of unchanging to exist, change must also exist. These two are dualities that come together as one. For change to exist, non-change must also exist. For non-change to exist, change must also exist. The fact that your body appears static and unmoving proves that your body is always moving. And science, shows your cells are always moving. They're always communicating with each other. Atoms are always vibrating. Energy is always flowing through your body, but you'll never experience that change. From your point of view, you don't change at all. But from the point of view of your cells, you're always changing. From one point of view, life, the rules of this world never change. But from the point of view of God, the creator of these rules, everything is always changing. God is always changing. God is always making calculations, fixing problems, defects. Just like a game developer is always watching it, the processes, the background processes that's, occurring within a game, right? A game developer is always watching the background processes that's, occurring within a game to make sure everything flows perfectly. We may adjust certain things. It may keep certain things exactly the way they are. Just like your cells. Your cells are always changing. Your brain is always regulating your body. Your body's always regulating. That's why your body appears unchanging. Because your body's always regulating itself. God is always regulating the world around us. Adding energy, removing energy when it needs. The world is always being calibrated and maintained by God. That way, it'll appear unchanging from our end. Your cells are always regulating your body. That way, your body will appear unchanging from your end. From your end, it's a seamless process. Nothing changes. Your body feels normal. You eat food, your body digests it. Everything happens normally and naturally. You don't feel anything special happening. But behind all that, that seamless, perfect process is your body constantly changing, constantly making adjustments, constantly working hard to make sure everything appears seamless and perfect. That's what God does in the background. God is constantly making adjustments to the world, constantly making changes here and there to make sure the world looks perfect from our end. Just like your cells and your brain is constantly changing and evolving your body, constantly making sure everything works perfectly from your end. Your mind will never notice a change because your body is the one creating that illusion. Your mind is the one, your brain is the one giving that illusion that nothing is changing within you. God is the one giving the illusion that nothing is changing within the world to give you a seamless experience of the world where everything appears perfect. God must also always be working in the background, making adjustments, changing here, changing there, just like yourselves, constantly making changes to the very rules of the world. That way, from our point of view, the rules look perfect. For the rules to look perfect for us, the rules are, God is always making calculations behind the scenes. For a computer to look perfect to you, the processor is always making calculations behind the scenes. There's a lot of background processes involved in our world, and God is the one handling that background process. All the background processes that makes the world look perfect from our end is being handled by God. All the background process that make the world look, all the rules work perfectly is being handled by God behind the scenes. Just like a developer of a computer creates always handles, of a game. A developer of a game is always making sure everything works perfectly. Behind the scenes, there's something behind the scenes making sure your video game that you play works perfectly. There's a processor behind the scene on your computer, a graphics card, a processor, a CPU that's always making calculations, making sure everything works perfectly so that when you turn your computer on, everything looks perfect. No glitches, no hiccups, no freezes. Everything just looks perfect. But because everything looks perfect on your computer, many scientists automatically just assume that this is how it is. Don't you find it weird that the rules always work? The rules always work because God is the one making sure everything always works. Your computer is always working perfectly for you because the processor is always making sure that everything works perfectly. The background process, there are a lot of background processes occurring behind the scenes to make the world looks perfect and seamless. There's a bunch of background processes occurring within your body to make your body appear seamless and perfect without any hiccups. You wake up, you walk, you live your life normally. Your body doesn't randomly freeze. Your body, you don't tell your hands to move and your hand doesn't move. You don't close your eyes and your eyes doesn't close. Everything appears seamless, doesn't it? That's exactly what's going on with the world. The world appears seamless and perfect because God is behind the scenes, constantly making adjustments, constantly making the world look perfect from our end. The world is perfect from our end because God is handling all the massive work, the processing power, God is processing a lot of things to make sure the world looks perfect from our end. Just like your body and your cells and your mind are going through a lot of processes. They're exchanging information constantly just so that your mind looks perfect and seamless from your end. This is how the world works. God created the world to be a world, meaning it has to appear as a world from our end. Otherwise, what's the point of creating a world when, there are glitches, there's setbacks, glitches, and random freezes? It makes no sense to create a world that has a bunch of random glitches, right? Why create a video game that's filled with glitches, that's filled with bugs, right? So in order for the world to not appear full with bugs, filled with glitches, God must also must always be working behind the scenes, making sure everything works perfectly. You don't experience any glitches in the rules of the world because God is always making sure everything works perfectly. That's how this world works. The fact that the world appears unchanging proves that the world is changeable. The fact that energy can never be created nor destroyed from our end proves that energy can be created and destroyed by God Himself. God created this world to appear the way it is. From our end, the world will appear unchanging. The rules of the world will appear unchanging. Just like when you turn the computer on, the computer will always behave the same way. You look at the screen of your computer, you see, the icons will never change, right? The icons never change. Your wallpaper never changes unless you want it to change. Everything will always appear static, just like the rules of our world. It always appears static. But behind the scenes, there's constant, your CPU is always, calculating. It's always making adjustments. It always makes sure that computer looks perfect. That monitor looks perfect from our end. Always make sure everything works perfectly from our end. But from the end of the computer, from the side of the CPU, it's always changing. Changes are always occurring. That's how our world works. We are on the front end of the world. God is the back end. God is the one that's handling all the background processes to make sure the front end works perfectly. We're inside something, it's similar to a computer. We're on the front end of the computer, and God is the back end. God is the one that makes sure your cells, your organs, everything works seamlessly. Everything works perfectly. That way you don't experience any hiccups. You enjoy the world as it's supposed to be enjoyed, as if it's a real world. That's what this world is, and that's how God created this world. That way all the hard work is being done by God behind the scenes, while the world appears perfect from our end. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I pray for everyone's safety and understanding. And I pray for everyone's happiness and joy as well. Amen.